This is Black Box Podcast, and we talk about everything popular. In today's episode, we are going to talk about a novel which has captured images of love and death in our time. It is John Green's The Fault in Our Stars. It is a story about Hazel, a 16-year-old girl, and Augustus, a 17-year-old boy. They meet in a chance encounter and fall in love. Pretty simple? Actually, no. Both are terminally ill and have no prospect of any future. Where they meet is not a party but a cancer support group. So, author brings whole romantic story into reality, and I think that's why it became so popular because it talks about love in deathbed. When we start reading it, we somehow can't feel safe. We know this can't end up in marriage like most love story does. That's why it is interesting to know what makes it popular. To talk about it, I have invited my friend UB to contribute. She is practically in love with this book and has read it more than few times. I am so glad to have her. We will first let her talk about the book a bit and then we will have a discussion, and maybe then we will be able to understand the popularity of the novel. So here comes UB's voice.
I'm the kind of a person who has read the novel like several times, right? I'm the person who remembers all the dialogues from the movie. So it is very difficult for me to remember the first impression of this on my mind, right? But all I remember about it was that I was really surprised. I was feeling happy at moments. I was feeling good. But when I came closer to the end, I was angry. I was in shock. I mean, Hazel was the one who was ill, but eventually she was getting better and she was getting all the things which she deserved in her life. And when Augustus, being a healthy, lively, jolly personality, he falls ill and at the end he dies. That was somewhere I found it very sad. I was angry about it. I was in shock. Other than that, it made me laugh, it made me cry, it made me feel loved, and it definitely gave me a new perspective to look at the world. It is very innovative to see a hero or heroine not so macho and healthy. They were ill, they were having flaws, and they were accepting them, they were loving them. It was heavy. It made me think for a while and realize my infinities and made me value them. Thinking about two emotions which has been focused here in the novel, which are love and death. I used to believe that love is something when you go la 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 la, and for me, death is something that stops everything and nothing ever gets better or even the same. But in The Fault in Our Stars, John Green chose to end it on a cuter note, where he dies. He was dead, but he gave her a new life to live with. Despite of all the sadness and other things, I was feeling content when I completed it for the first time. And I do that for every single time whenever I read the novel again or whenever I watch the movie again. I hate incomplete stories, incomplete love stories. But this one was not a sentence which ended in middle of something. At least for me. And maybe that is the reason why this one is my most favorite of all the novels and movies.
Hi UV, how are you?
I'm great. I'm on
So,
I'm on a roller coaster ride that only goes up.
Already quoting from the novel, huh?
What to do? I just can't take out of me.
Yes, so we just heard about your primary experience with the novel, so I think we should discuss it further.
Sure.
Yes, what is your favorite scene from the novel?
Actually, there's a long list of it.
Maybe what is there first in the list?
First is Hazel Grace, of course. I mean, as a character, I mean, she's my favorite character. Of course, she's the center of the novel, so obviously.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, so, and it starts with her illness and depression. I mean, her mother thinks that she's depressed and she needs to go out and make friends. So, it starts as that, like a girl staying alone, reading the same book again and again, and depressed into her illness.
Yeah, and that reminds me of those princes from Disney cartoons who are also lonely at first, unless some boy comes along in their life.
Exactly, very much same to this novel.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I was expecting a boy to come in her life, but do you remember how they meet?
Oh, don't ask. It's a great meeting someone can have. I mean, he was just staring at her. Wow.
Yeah, that frankness, that smile. I mean,
and she was also feeling a bit awkward about it, but still she was happy with it. I mean, she was accepting it.
Yes, and she answers that stare by giving answer to his fear of oblivion.
Yes, exactly, and that was like a kind of face-off between them. That no, I'm right and you're wrong, kind of thing.
And I think from that scene only we can see the chemistry between two main characters.
Yes, and actually it starts when he says that she's beautiful. I mean, in indirect manner. I mean, when he says that he likes looking at beautiful people. So.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
I mean, that frankness is one of the key point of Augustus Waters.
Oh yes. I mean, he's the kind of personality, of course.
One of the interesting things for me was dialogues of novel, and sometimes, so simple is the language, yet it conveys too much. I mean, the always scene, and their okay dialogue.
That always an okay thing is very, very special. A very tiny but very impactful thing in this novel. I mean, that is from my point of view. Right. I mean, how they saw a couple saying always to each other, like they meant if they'll be staying together always or they'll be loving each other always. And eventually, unintentionally, they start saying okay to each other. And there was a point when said that maybe okay will be our always. How amazing. I mean, it just connects, with your heart when someone says something like that.
Yes, it shows the bond between those two linguistically.
Yeah.
It happens with couples, even family, that some words become so dear to them, so personal to them that they kind of invent new meanings out of it.
Exactly. It becomes like their own word.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. So when she replies okay, he says, "OMG, don't flirt with me." That kind of.
Yeah, or it takes time, or maybe it can happen with just a click. It depends. I mean, what kind of bond or feelings you guys are sharing.
Yes, but in the case of novel, I think they had very less time.
Oh yes.
From the starting, it seemed like we are facing a ticking clock, that something is going to happen, something bad.
Yeah, but suddenly when they met, it goes on a soothing pace. I mean, suddenly the novel went on like a romantic, soft movie, like a breeze of air.
Yes, I counted even when reading novel or watching the movie of adaptation of the same novel. that we have a low point, then we have a high point when they meet, then suddenly we have low point, then when she falls ill, then suddenly high point when they can go to Amsterdam. And I mean, it is a kind of really a roller coaster ride.
Exactly. It keeps you curious to know what is going to happen next. It keeps you stuck in it.
Yeah, but
literally.
Still it surprises us.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and I was very much interested into how two sick people make impact on each other.
That was actually conveyed in this novel very, very nicely by Mr. John Green. I mean, they are totally different from each other. They are belonging to different things. They are having different habits and likes and dislikes, and still they are sharing. Actually, it starts when they are exchanging a movie CD and a book, right? And Hazel gives him a book to read, and in return she is promising to read.
Yeah, book given by him.
No, the movie CD. The movie V for Vendetta. In return, she promises to watch that movie for him. And it starts with that. I mean, even she had that impact. She went to the store to buy all the sequels and all the parts of the V for Vendetta. And also, Gus read the whole book again and again. And he had the same effect on him, which Hazel used to have.
Yes.
So it shows that even things from you is important to me.
And his reaction when he finishes the book.
Exactly. I bet that was the very first reaction of Hazel also when she read that book. I can bet on that.
Yes. So, a novel ending in middle of a sentence is quite shocking.
Exactly. It was so cruel.
That what happened to if the girl died, then what happened to family? At least tell them. And I think this novel tells us about it only. When someone dies, I mean when Augustus dies, all the family, friends, Hazel, we have seen what happens.
Yeah,
so I think that John Green has actually employed a good device here, that what he did with Imperial Affliction, he finished it in the narration of the novel. Yes.
Yeah.
That's why, I mean, even that and Augustus seems so apart. I mean, when we see Augustus first, he's so full of life. I mean, it seems so apart that Gus and death has anything to do, because he seems so full of life when we first meet him, right?
Yeah.
That's why, I mean, even the metaphor of death, cigarette, is something that is so, I must say, deep and full of wisdom.
Yeah. It was actually, when they first met and got into discussion of oblivion and everything, we came to know that at very same moment that he is afraid of being, disappeared or something like that. So he had that fear in him. So that metaphor was so much important to him. I mean, keeping a thing which can kill you between your lips and not giving it the power to kill you.
Exactly.
At what level do you think it is giving him that feeling that no, I cannot be killed like that? I mean, you can just imagine that from whatever he's saying or with this metaphorical thing.
Oh, I wouldn't mind, Hazel Grace. It would be a privilege to have my heart broken by you. Also, this novel kind of analyze or tells us about how sick persons who are terminally ill impacts lives around them, especially lives of their family members.
Yes, of course. Let me tell you, if you remember that scene or not, when she was in the ICU and she was not so much conscious about anything, but yet when her parents were over there next to her and her mother was crying because she had very less hope to survive,
and she was saying that she's not going to be a mother anymore. It affected her so very much, so badly, that even she didn't confront them that you guys have said that and I didn't like it. She had that in her heart, and at some point she started believing that she's a grenade and she's going to blast one day like a bomb, and she'll leave everyone hurt after her. So it really shows very, very painfully that how they are having their mental stress and everything, that they are going to hurt everyone after them, or even with them. Even they are alive, they have to like keep a person with themselves, so that she can be kept safe or something. So she needs to have her mother every single minute with her. So it hurts her that she's
going to be
interfering in someone
reasoned.
else's life.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So it is.
Yes, it is very tragic, and it somehow shows us that how a child, because she was 13 when this happened, a child can start believing in something and stick to it too much that she may actually start harming herself.
Point. But see, there's a point that in this very same thing, she has been characterized as very, very strong person too. I mean, being so sick, whenever she went to that ER checkup, and whenever she was asked about scaling the pain she was feeling, she always said 9, and she always. She never said that it's 10 and she's unbearably in pain. She has never said that. It shows that even being ill, even being stressed, she is still fighting strongly. And she has fought a couple of times with her cancer, and that too so bravely. I mean, it's not easy, right?
Yeah. Cancer is that kind of sickness where you feel helpless, but she fights.
And every single side effect of dying comes to you step by step, one by one. And she just kept on fighting them.
Yes, it takes lots of bravery to do that.
Actually, that is the main reason why she is my favorite character, or why I feel that she's so inspiring or motivating.
Yeah, definitely. That's really good point. That even if she is ill, she fights, and that makes her brave, and that actually motivates readers who are actually normal, healthy. So if a ill person can fight, then why cannot he?
Exactly.
It's a metaphor. See, you put the killing thing right between your teeth, but you don't give it the power to do its killing.
This novel actually shines where it dwells into little scenes. For example, the picnic that Gus takes on. What is the place? I am forgetting the place. Oh my.
Oh, that Skeleton Garden
yes,
one.
Yes, Skeleton Garden one.
Yes. Actually, it was kind of a cute and sweet surprise for her, right? That picnic. I mean, where he was going to burst the news that they are going to Amsterdam and everything. So it was kind of puzzle he created. I really, really liked it. When Netherlands orange is their national color, right? Netherlands. So he had everything orange. I mean, he was wearing a jersey of their player, and then he had
the flowers he brought.
Yes, the flowers and that sandwich. I mean,
yeah, everything.
What sandwich was that? That cheese sandwich. Yeah, with not at all Dutch tomatoes. I mean, he was giving signs to her, and it was like she was so smart to read all of them, and yet to act as if she's not catching anything. And it was beautiful. And finally, when he burst the news that they are going to Amsterdam, oh my God, his reaction was priceless.
Yeah, even I was surprised.
Yeah, but it made you smile. You have to accept that.
Yes, it definitely did.
That is what maybe love is.
Yes, Yubi, another scene that we have is dinner at the restaurant.
Oh yes, at the restaurant, Orangey.
Yes, and it's very posh and seems like, and yeah, also their names are Mr. and Mrs. Waters, so we
Yeah.
treat them like a married couple. And I think that is where they both first taste champagne.
Oh no, not champagne. The stars.
Okay. See how we forget details. But it was a memorable scene. I mean, even in the movie, it is one of the beautiful scenes that I liked so much. What they talk, and I think that is the first time I see Augustus having little serious talk to do.
Yes, and it felt like we are reading about or we are watching some very, very normal couple who's not ill, who are not depressed, who are not there for their last wish. Nothing of that. Just them.
Yes, it seems like it is normal.
Yeah, and how they were so happy. I mean, take the champagne thing or take that carrot recito or anything. I mean, in that dinner and the proposal, everything was so special and normal. I mean,
Yeah, it feels like a perfect date.
too true.
But it is contrasted by the scene that comes after when they get along in his room and try to have sex. And I think that we can see how they are not normal. They have to face each other's illness. And, I mean, she cannot breathe even. So she has to put on that device even while being intimate.
And same was that for Gus. I mean, he also had his prosthetic leg, which he was afraid that if Hazel will see it, she might feel something bad or
Weird, yes.
Yeah, that fear was there for Gus also. But they accepted it so nicely, so smoothly. I mean, she just, you remember when she said that just get over from yourself, Gus. I mean, wow.
Yeah, maybe
They
was
were
heat
sharing
of the
a great
moment,
understanding.
yeah, it was heat of the moment, or maybe they understand each other as imperfect because they know that nobody can be actually perfect. So maybe they have that acceptance.
Maybe they were in love with their imperfections only.
Hmm.
That's part of what I like about the book in some ways. It portrays death truthfully. You die in the middle of your life, in middle of a sentence.
The second day seems to have little different plan for them. The roller coaster that was going high up until now suddenly falls down with Peter's introduction.
So true. I mean, it was.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of the cruelest characters that I have met in modern fiction. But obviously, we were expecting him to be a kind gentleman because he has invited them. He has even paid for their dinners. That that his secretary actually has paid for the dinner.
Without even reading the Imperial Affliction, we were also hoping to get answers from that book, from the author. I mean, what happens to her or to her family or to the hamster? I mean, we were also expecting that. It just surprises you with another shock, I guess.
Yeah, that is one of the downfall in the narrative, that sorry, it is not happening as you wished. And yeah, Peter, he actually treats them very cruelly, and what can I say? I mean, he does not even acknowledge that they have come from far just to
You
visit.
were so rude.
Yeah, so rude. But I think that shows the reality also, that when we read a fiction and fall in love with that book, we also think that the creator of that book is also like that. But generally that is not the case. Authors are also people.
Right. So maybe it is fair to teach us that we should not believe in the stories as they are real characters, and we should keep it a story only. Maybe.
Yes, and otherwise our heart can get broken.
Obviously, after reading this kind of novel, it's surely going to break into pieces.
But see, even fictionality can merge with reality. In case of this novel, real history. I mean, so marveled at the genius of the John Green that he chose Amsterdam for Peter to live so they can visit it. And immediately after he turns them down, he disappoints them. His secretary takes them to Anne Frank's house.
Yes, that was actually the turning point of this novel.
And
Yeah.
Anne Frank, one of the, I must say, 20th century major icon who wrote famous diary and somehow gave us ideas about what is operation or what is freedom. And
Agreed.
That all from a child's perspective. And obviously her story was about struggle, which is Hazel Gray's story about struggle.
Yeah, it's too much nothing. Maybe that was the reason why she was so much affected with her life.
Yeah, and that is shown very beautifully in the movie when she has to climb up stairs at different level of the house, and the commentary in the background is from the Anne Frank's diary, which is about struggle.
Exactly. I mean, she was feeling that she owed to Anne, and she had to do that, and she had to tell her lungs to shut up and stay there, to behave nicely in order to finish this up. I mean, maybe he wanted the answers for her.
Yeah, it is a kind of self-discovery for her. I can see that.
Yeah, and it turns out really nicely that the person who was in love with someone but still pushing him away from her, she just got the realization that whatever she does or however she tries to push him away, but it's not going to work. It's better that he just, go with the flow and let her heart live as much as it can.
Yeah, and that comes with the kiss that they do there.
Yeah, that was the most romantic thing in the novel.
Yeah, whatever romanticism is left in the novel, it is one of those scenes.
Yeah, well, it was so touching. So, I mean, you will not be focusing on the kiss, rather you'll be focusing on the feelings they're having.
Yes, definitely.
Some people don't understand promises they are making when they make them. I see it. Right, of course, but you make the promise anyway. That's what love is. Love is keeping the promise anyway.
After that visit to Amsterdam, and certainly when he tells that he is also sick and maybe he won't live much, that scene from there, I mean, this is the ride that goes down and down.
You feel like you're having a beautiful piece of some glass flower vase falls off your hand, and
it gets broken.
A minute ago it was your favorite, and just within a second or within a minute it is shattered in different pieces which you cannot even collect all of them.
That's why it is one of the important scenes where he says that this world is not a wish granting factory.
It's totally true. It is not at all a wish granting factory, cause.
Yeah, I mean, they are teenagers and they are children, and they seems like they think that it is, but this realization that comes from Gus is really a character development, that we cannot have our every wish granted. That's why eulogy that he forces actually for Isaac and Hazel to speak is actually one of the powerful scenes of the novel, if not beautiful.
Yes, it indeed is. It gives a lot of feelings all together. I mean, feeling of being strong, feeling of motivating someone, or feeling of being in pain, feeling of how you can fight with your death. I mean, how can you face your death? I mean,
so the speech given by his friend Isaac is little funnier, that I will, when future scientists will give me robotic eyes, I will say I don't want to see world without Gus. But then he tells anyway I will have them. So yeah, he is funny, but Hazel's speech is very, very emotional to the level of sentimentality.
Yeah, I mean,
especially when she talks about infinity.
You gave me a forever within the numbered days, and I am grateful.
The climax of the movie or novel is obviously death of Gus.
yeah, you can say that it was Gus' death.
Yeah, and I don't actually remember how it is presented in the novel, but I have recently seen the movie, so I remember it very much that it is night time and Hazel hears phone ringing. Then she hears someone picking it up, his father or mother. Then they both arrive in her room and she understands, she gets it that Gus is dead. So it is how it's shown in the movie. What happens in novel, I don't remember. Can you?
It is almost the same thing. But what I believe here is that John Green tried to, show that the way how Anne Frank went, I mean, she just died, and the same thing happens with Gus also. I mean, it was so sudden. Everyone knew that he was dying, but still it was a shocking thing, and it just happened. I mean, he was just gone with a fraction of a second. No one even got to do anything. They didn't even met for last time. So it was kind of untold half sentence only in this novel also.
Yeah. And that is the climax scene, I must say, because after that we see what we often call falling action, and that's where our that scene comes where Hazel goes to funeral and meets Peter again.
Yeah, his comeback was very, very,
emotional.
very difficult to accept for her. Yeah.
Because,
but that was actually a good thing, but she just didn't know that. So she was just trying to push him away because she was at her 10 at that moment. So she just didn't want it.
Oh yeah,
anymore.
Please. Elaborate that. Pain, scale.
Oh, yeah. Actually, those who have read the novel already knows that whenever she went for the ER scanning, she was asked to scale the
pain
from to 10. And she always used to say that it is 9, and she never said 10. Everyone thought that she was brave enough to call it a 9 and not a 10. Even a nurse told her that you're brave because you are calling a 10 or 9, right? But actual thing was that she was saving her 10, and Gus' death was her 10. I mean, that was the extreme level of pain she can take.
Yes, losing the person you love most.
Yeah.
Or who loves you most.
Point. So that was her 10. Everyone is having their 10.
That brings us to the letter.
Yes, which makes the 10 very less painful to some extent.
Yes, and I think what I earlier talked about, how John Green actually writes what happens to everyone after someone dies in reference to Imperial Affliction. That letter is all about that, moving on and being with someone's memory who is now dead.
Yeah, point. And the fact that, we all know that Gus had fear of oblivion, fear of being, forgotten.
Yes, forgotten.
Yeah. So with that letter, actually Gus was trying to create something for her. Actually, he promised Hazel that he will be writing a sequel because she was so upset with Mr. Peter. So at that moment, told her that he's going to write a sequel for her, an even better sequel. So in order to fulfill that also, maybe because they didn't meet or they didn't have a closure. So that closure, maybe he wrote that letter, I guess. It touched the heart. It gave another life to Hazel, we can say that.
Yes, and even to memories of Gus, because he was broken up by the illness he had, but still he had this thoughtful thing to do. Because he was practically angry with Peter, but still he did it for Hazel.
Yeah, exactly. That shows his love, and by doing that, unknowingly he also left his scar in Hazel's life. So he will never be forgotten for Hazel or for any of us who read the novel.
So now we arrive to the question of the episode: why The Fault in Our Stars by John Green is popular?
Okay. See, as a common person, as an average girl, according to my belief, this novel and movie itself, both the things shows many of the feelings which we are facing at some point in our lives, or maybe we are having a feeling that this scene or this kind of incident can be life changing or very it touches the heart. Those moments are too much in that novel, and I believe that it makes everyone feel so normal and yet in pain and in love and almost so many emotions they are covering very nicely. So maybe that is the reason, because everyone gets their particular emotion in this novel, filled with love and emotions, and it is a heartwarming thing. Maybe that is why it is favorite of mine. Maybe this could be the reason for the rest, I guess.
Okay, well said.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Yubi, thank you very much for being a part of this episode.
Okay, thanks to you for having me.
There is no shortage of fault to be found amid our stars. Now Yubi will read some part of the letter that Augustus wrote.
Here's the thing about Hazel. Almost everyone is obsessed with leaving a mark upon the world. We think a legacy outlasting death. We all want to be remembered. I do too. That's what bothers me most, is being another unremembered casualty in the ancient and inglorious war against disease. I want to leave a mark. Hazel's different. She walks lightly, old man. She walks lightly upon the earth. Hazel knows the truth. We're as likely to hurt the universe as we are to help it, and we're not likely to do either. People will say it's sad that she leaves a lesser scar, that fewer remember her, that she was loved deeply but not widely. But it's not sad, Van Aren. It's triumphant, it's heroic. Isn't that the real heroism, like the doctors say? First, do no harm. What else? She is beautiful. You don't get tired of looking at her. You never worry if she is smarter than you. You know she is. She is funny without ever being mean. I love her. I'm so lucky to love her, Van Aren. You don't get to choose if you get hurt in this world. But you do have some say in who hurts you. I like my choices, and I hope she likes hers. I do, Augustus. I do.
Now we have arrived at the conclusion of our episode. We talked about various aspects of the novel and tried to understand why it is popular. This novel is a love story, and love stories tend to be read more. It tackles theme of death also, and this combination of love and death has been an attraction among writers and readers alike. It has a great central character who is a teenager, and despite being sick, she shows courage to live life. Such characters leave their marks on readers. It has great little dialogues and scenes which are memorable. They always stay with reader even after reading and finishing the book. It talks about cancer, one of the most talked about illness of our times. It shows struggle and sorrows of a cancer patient. It has great romantic scenes which steals heart, may it be picnic scene or dinner scene. It has dramatic ups and downs which keeps reader turning pages, and at last, it ends with death of a major character, and tragedy tends to be more popular, especially with readers of novels. I say that's why it is popular. Well, that was our today's episode. Send us your suggestions and feedback to the email address given in the description. You can also tell us which topics from popular culture would you like us to discuss next. See you in the next episode. Until then, have a good time.